Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Jaguar. This is my playbook trade of November 19th of 2019. As you can see today, we opened up in a gap. So initially I was going to stock longs today. However, we somewhat of one time frame down on the 5-minute chart here. So didn't want to get long. And as we entered into this distribution of yesterday, this distribution here, we put in a week low at the same high volume area that we had yesterday. And so I was watching this area relatively closely. I pretty much watched the footprint all day long. And I actually got into this trade a little bit early. I got in about here and then got out here and got out here. So I already took a stop out on this trade, so I was kind of annoyed by that. However, as we put in, more and more volume right here in this area, I was noticing absorption going on the book, and overall, it just looked like it still had some juice in this trade. So I went ahead and opted to continue to stock this trade. So let's see, let's fast forward here. Okay, fast forwarded too far there. Okay, so here I was just stocking at the lows. You see I changed my order type here. I actually got in with smaller size than I did originally because I didn't want to blow all my wrist today. But that was kind of unfortunate because then I could have took more profits in this trade. Is what it is in that situation. Always got to adjust for risk first. So I got in here as we had this pop down. We went from having positive delta on this bar while at the lows. So we were trading right about here with positive delta. And then we get here and we were at about negative 800 or so when I got in. Here we accelerated down, we put in some points of imbalance, and then I got in right here about 2 ticks off the low. So the market rolled over relatively quickly, and it's just kind of noticing the pace change. In these situations where we're putting in a week low, when it's getting ready to go, it does really go. Even in this situation, I could have known to not enter here because it wasn't extremely aggressive. You see here, even though I was ready to click the button right as we traded this low, I didn't even have time to get in right there on that low. I actually missed it by 2 ticks. So it's just that change in pace is kind of what lets you know the ledge is going to fall over. At least that's what I'm looking at. The change in delta, the change in pace and velocity of the market. So we traded down to here. We're trading right here, excuse me. And the reason why my stop is here, I have an 8-tick stop naturally in this trade. Mechanically in this trade. However, I keep my stop behind the invalidation point of this trade. So arguably you could say it was around here because we put in these imbalances here, so you could possibly have your stop right behind the imbalances. However, I keep mine behind the VPOC of the bar that we accelerated from. So basically if we traded up here, I'm just going to assume my trade is invalidated because we had to, buyers would have to overcome so much delta and so much volume, and that does happen sometimes, but at that point I would no longer want to be in because we just completely invalidated the pop that I got in on. So we trade along here a little bit. Delta's still pretty negative. Now sometimes there's volume spikes where delta and volume will be huge, but it does get reversed, and so that could happen as well. So you kind of have to just be cognizant. This is kind of a touchy trade, at least the way I traded, in my opinion. Trading breakouts on the initial break, it's a very touchy type of trade. So I'm just going to fast forward here, and eventually we do get this target. Now I was kind of being a dick for a tick here where I could have just rolled this up and took it or just marketed it out for one in this situation, and I just went ahead and left my limit order there, and that was fine in this situation. But had I came back and been stopped out or went back to break even, I would have been kind of upset about that. So I'm not saying I did this wrong or right, but that's just something that I need to be cognizant about is, do I want to hold out for one tick? Okay, so I went ahead, I got that, and we scroll down to here. Now I have the crosshair right here, so it's kind of in the way. Oh, okay, I was setting that up, but in this trade, as we were approaching this level, I really probably should have got out around here, right at the high volume point of this, because you're just more likely to actually have us trade the high volume area. You know, going into this other side here, we might make it to that, but we're probably going to have a test up before we make it there. So I was kind of just being greedy, wanted to be in the middle of that stock zone, and that was because I was trading a 2 lot. If I was trading a 3 lot, I would have took my second position off right here, and I probably would have targeted down here at 3108, 3108.50, 3109. I probably would have targeted that with my 3rd lot. So I could have managed this trade a little bit better. And as you can see, we put in negative 23.55 delta here, and we've taken almost 1,000 off thus far. And you're to see it's going to continue to. We're still trading at these lows, so I was still confident here, or relatively confident, because we're still trading at these lows, and we are going to make it down. Okay, so we retested that low, and now we are kind of moving. We're getting some buyers step in now. This is when I first became alerted that I may need to get out of my trade. We got kind of under 1,000 delta. It's not because it was 1,000. It's just, we lost basically half the delta of this bar. So buyers have been coming in. Sellers are still selling too at this area, but it's becoming less confident. So if we skip ahead a little bit here, we are peeling off this delta, and I do end up getting out at the same position I got out of my other position. At the same price level I got out at my first part of my position. So it went from 900 to 300 relatively quickly. I know I skipped ahead, but it went from 900 to 483 to then 302, and I just felt like I needed to get out there. We came down here. We did trade this level again, but we actually never got 1250. We got 1275. So I would have missed my target by a tick anyways. So if I just kind of tried to stay in there strong with a limit order, I wouldn't have got it filled. So yes, I could have made more money on this trade. It was a 20 tick winner. Yeah, I could have did a better job, but overall, this was not a bad trade. The idea of it was good. Even the management, it was not completely botched. I just, I need to do a little bit better in that trade. And having traded if I would have traded a 3 lot, like I said, I would have just got out at, I would have been getting out my second position on momentum shift. So that's my playbook trade for today, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Thanks.